Message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS T-Drift.
Contact, nice to be in orbit. The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
Broadcasting from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void. I'm your host, Joe Root. We're live on the Fringe FM tonight. It is Wednesday night, May the 27th. We're getting closer to June as the moon waxes towards that beautiful strawberry full moon that we're headed towards. Hey, I want to thank all of the new patrons for signing up. Keep yourself posted in there because there's more stuff coming. The Astral Journal is going to have, not the Astral Journal, we already put that up, but the Outside the Shack Journal is going to have some more stuff coming in there. And I want to thank our sponsors too at GetTheT.com, Metaphorical Archaeology, everybody in the Fringe FM chats. It's been one hell of a week. The website, I swear to God, I know I've said this a million times, but the Fringe FM website is just about ready to go. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the week. We've been busting our arses on it, actually, because there's all this new energy coming, all this new stuff coming. You guys can feel it, right? So that's what we're doing. We're preparing for all this stuff, and it's gonna be killer. I can't take credit for the vision of it, but I can take credit for a little bit of the work on it. I can tell you that. All right. So our guest tonight is a guest that hasn't been on the program in quite a bit. The Occult Priestess is here with us tonight, so we're going to be talking to her in just a second. I want to tell you guys, like, if you're donating to the show on, you can donate to the show on PayPal. That's fine, but I would go ahead and switch it over to Patreon so that you get something for your buck. Just saying. It would probably be better. I mean, you don't have to. I guess I'll just keep reminding you, or maybe I should send emails out to do that too. The call-in number for tonight is 1-800-588-0335 if you want to call into the show. That number is always going to be the call-in number, so save that in your phones. And, it's sad to say the Ozark event that got postponed to July, we thought we was going to be able to go to that in July. I think it's been, I don't know if it's officially been canceled. Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. Maybe they're going to move it. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like the date is going to be the exact date, maybe. And if not, we'll be there next year. It's kind of crazy, though, that when this whole COVID thing started, I was in a state that wasn't like there. We didn't have any like big numbers or anything. And now a lot of the states that had big problems are opening up and everything is cool. And now we're like one of the states that everything kind of sucks. So it's weird times, man, weird energies, all of that stuff. But I want you guys, if you're listening and you're a patron, I want you to listen to Outside the Shack, because I'm specifically going to talk about magic, and I'm going to talk about some of that stuff tonight with Korrine too. And Korrine's here with us. And Korrine is a master mystery school graduate, experienced in the psychic arts, Reiki, alternative healing, tarot, psychology, symbolic interpretation, Buddhism, 12-step recovery counseling, cleansing and purification, states of consciousness, shamanic, soul counseling, ascension and kundalini, rituals, spellcraft, soulcraft, starseeds, spiritual warfare, psychic self-defense, world mythology, hidden history, many ancient traditions, you name it. That's why she's the Occult Priestess. And it's good to have you back. Thanks for coming back on the program.
Happy Woden's Day, Joe.
Woden's Day. Now, see,
And
I don't know all the
Wednesday.
holidays. Does that mean that
It's just Wednesday, dude.
Oh, I
Just
thought Wednesday was
Odin's
Mercury Day.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends on who you're worshiping at the time.
Who do you worship on Wednesdays? Odin?
Odin, definitely, because Mercury is Roman, and I believe the Roman gods are just the Greek gods dressed up in different clothing.
Ah, well, that's cool. Don't you think that it's kind of crazy now, though, that like, so I know you were like into the occult and magic and all this stuff before it was cool. And now you see how cool it's becoming. What's that like? You got any thoughts on that? Like, everybody's talking about it. I mean, even Nori and Coast to Coast and all them, they're getting into it now and everything. Back in the day, they used to shy away from it. It used to be one of those things where, oh, we don't want to talk about that. Now it's everywhere. What do you think about that?
That would be their version of the occult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I think you don't think it's being accepted more, though, for real?
What I see is the New World Order coming out of every closet, and also Satanists coming out saying, hey, I'm a Satanist, and kind of being proud about it.
Yeah, that's weird,
So I
right?
do see but all the veils are coming down, and the occult, wouldn't you say, is the last veil?
Yeah. So the Satanists, who are they? Who's been doing that lately? I don't watch. The last Satanist that I dealt with, and I didn't really specifically deal with, is the ones that came up here to Arkansas when they had their statue at Little Rock. They had the Baphomet statue, right? And they were
With like 2 or 3 kids around it.
Yeah. And they were pushing it, like saying, if you're going to put up your crosses and all this other stuff, well, we're going to put up our Baphomet statue. Well, I guess I could see their point, but they had to travel across states to do that, to make their point. And the dude, I don't know his name. What is this guy's name? Lucian something, I think. I mean, the dude looks like a villain, for real.
It seems like there's a lot of money in Satanism, Joe.
Is there?
Yeah, and white supremacy and any other kind of hate group has a lot of money behind it because the rich people enjoy these things. They get us to fight among ourselves. And I think that we could say the elites are that big club that we're not a part of. And so is Satanism and just darkness in general.
I think our club's way cooler, though, honestly.
Well, I'd have to agree with you there, Joe.
Yeah, so in your part of the world, are you still in California, by the way? Just curious.
Yeah, we had a riot well, it wasn't a riot here, but downtown today, a few hours ago, there was protesting, and it was reported on the news, and that happened about 15 minutes away from me. And we're still wearing masks, and we're still basically on lockdown here.
You don't participate in the riots, though, huh? Man.
Or even in protesting. I protested when we were occupying Wall Street, and I learned all I needed to learn about protesting at that point.
Yeah, what's that? Tell me, what'd you learn?
It's futile. It's like going to Rocky Horror Picture Show and yelling at the screen. It literally isn't going to get you anywhere unless you're a social climber. And in fact, in general, I would say you're not going to get anywhere, period. In this world, the way it is morally corrupt at the moment without being a social climber.
Wow. You know what? I believe that. Everybody's in like unrest too. And 1/3 of Americans now show signs of clinical anxiety and depression, according to a census. 1/3 of us are depressed or anxious.
This is a huge mind job, but I warned about this coming, as I always do.
Yeah.
But my point here is that evil's always been here. It will just be exposed more. And what we're seeing here is the exposure, and people from La La Land who were in denial in science sci-fi land, worried about aliens, when they're going to have to worry about where the food is coming from. Very important basic needs of themselves and their families. So this is a very big wake-up call for all the sheeple everywhere.
You should have went redneck. When all you guys are making fun of rednecks, you should have went redneck. If you run out of bread, we'll be fine here. Trust me. But unless the deer start getting COVID, and then we got a problem,
I'd rather eat squirrels than bugs.
Yeah, but it is pretty trippy though. I do remember like back in the day, you were heavily into conspiracy and parapolitical stuff, and you weren't really backing off of it, no matter what anybody said. I got that like Mark Passio vibe from you,
Oh,
like,
wow. Thank you. That's awesome. He's very heavy-handed.
Yeah, he's pretty intense, right? Like he's an angry dude and he's passionate, but he has if you listen to what he's saying though, it's like he's got every right to be though.
Oh, definitely. That indignant righteousness is definitely pure.
I mean, this guy, tell me what you know about this too. Because I've been trying to get him on the show, and I think Ryan's been trying to help me get him on the show too. But this guy, like, used to be a Satanist. He used to be a part of these groups. And then, comes out and teaches everybody about it and says, I was a part of these groups where elitism is like the thing. It's all about materialism and elitism and power. That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no sympathy or compassion for anybody.
No love, even among themselves.
It's hard to believe in something like that, though. There's always like that doubt in the back of our heads, like, nah, there couldn't be people like that out there, Not
well, I
really.
guess you have to meet them and be around them and feel them, and then you'll know.
Are they all in California?
It seems like it, right?
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, the Midwest is a hotbed for Satanism. And, I don't want to get in trouble, but I would say that Sandy Hook was put off by Satanists. It was pulled off by the CIA and Satanists.
Yeah. What is your view on Mr. Alex Jones, though? What do you think about him?
Well, I've got a soft spot in my heart for Alex because we're both born on the same day, same year. So we're both Aquarius, February 11th, 1974. And so I see what he means, although he doesn't always come across, like a sane human, I suppose. And plus, he's in that Rush Limbaugh yelling category, and you could even say Mark Passio has a bit of that. And that all of that flavor is a preacher. That is a literal preacher. And I wasn't raised on preachers who were yelling, so it doesn't trigger me.
If you guys want to go to like some entertaining stuff, though, you go to the occultpriestess.com, go to the blog, and I'm looking at this blog post that you got that's called, "Have you ever been Twilight Zoned?"
Yeah, because I knew we were entering the Twilight Zone this year, so that was my first blog of 2020.
What is that about? Like the Twilight Zone, I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone right now. Like we're in an episode of it,
When you're doing or reading a book about magical ritual, the first thing you have to do is create a space between the worlds.
That's right.
And that is traditional in fairy called the Twilight Zone.
Twilight. That's right. Yeah. And matter of fact.
Yeah. So we're actually entering the fourth dimension as a collective more than ever before, which is also the Twilight Zone. That particular blog is about very freakish and positive synchronicities that happened to me through real life and art merging in my experience. And it's fully explained there with music and lyrics and lots of colorful art.
And Kate Bush.
So it's an expression of synchronicity.
And Kate Bush, for sure.
Of course, my favorite, Kate Bush.
Yeah. So like this whole thing, when I went out in downtown Little Rock not too long ago, I hadn't been out. Like really just kind of stayed around here. And I didn't realize just how creepy it was, man, out
Extremely.
in the world. It is freaking creepy, right? Like at night you go outside and it's dead still. Now, if you get to hang out with somebody, that's cool because you get to like kick it and you're in this like real life Twilight Zone thing. But if you go around and you start like talking to people and trying to mingle like you would in everyday life, it does feel like you're in another dimension for real. It really does.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you and me and many people that listen to your show are natural hermits. So we haven't been as exposed to the crazies as just normal people that have to work and still working their jobs.
Yeah. And it makes me feel guilty too, because everybody's like, I told you, man, it's crazy out here. But you live on another planet. I'm like, no, like I'm on this planet. My dad says the same thing to me. I'm on this planet. I just don't go around anymore. It's kind of sad because I want to go places, man. I want to go to the mountains and like Fiji and all these different places. And now I'm thinking, okay, we're not going to get this back until we take this vaccine that's coming out. Everybody knows it's coming, right? You know it's coming. So.
Oh, I know it's coming. But what hasn't been discussed or philosophized about is what God's going to do about it.
What do you think is going to happen?
Nobody's talking about that. They're just like what the New World Order is going to do to us. And then if we're going to fight back as humans, that's the other side of the argument. You know, have you got your guns? Have you got your ammo? Are you ready for revolution? All of these things are physical, very visceral, root chakra. And I don't live on that planet, Joe.
You don't? So what are you going to do when all this goes down? Are you going to escape and hide somewhere?
If I had my dream come true, I would be on a farm, land that I own, a sovereign being, making my own water and food, and having pagan festivals every high season, you know, every time that there's a full moon, even invite the neighbors the way it used to be, Joe, when we were pagans. You know,
everybody just should come to Arkansas. All that stuff happens here already. We get our own water. There's mountains and stuff, and not just Arkansas. Tennessee's like that. There are still places like that in America, you know, actually.
Even in California, believe it or not.
Like where? The Redwoods?
Well, it's nowhere near the cities, but California is huge. And I've been looking out towards the mountains because as a hermit, I gravitate towards mountainous regions with natural water. And I've been looking for land.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I think I have this, now don't get me wrong. Like maybe I'm over optimistic, but I have this idea that everything might just turn out okay, Korrine. It could.
Not without a fight. There will be a battle.
There will be a battle.
Have you heard of smart cities and Agenda 21?
Well, yeah. You know I'm not afraid of a battle, though, right? I hope you know that.
Not at all. You're a warrior. I mean, we're going to be counting on you. That's why you're out there in no man's land to be safe.
But it's like, I think we should be smart about it, though. I think we should focus on winning the war. You know?
All we can do as individuals is be cool with God and ourselves, you know, heal ourselves.
Word.
When people get together in big groups, there's a group collective that becomes an idiot.
It's like an egregorical idiot.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody that's ever been to like a concert knows that, right?
Yes. And even a coven of 20 people can get pretty stupid.
How many covens have you been in your lifetime, you think? Like,
just my own.
Just your own? So you haven't been in like covens full of witches or anything?
I visited them, but they're, you know, a lot of them are just people trying to get laid.
You serious?
Oh, definitely. And then in high magic circles, it was people trying to control other people.
So, that's a scary thought. So all of you guys that go out and join covens, just know that's all it's about. It's just people trying to get laid. Good night.
I certainly haven't found any group that I had respected. And that's when I was the head of the pagan community in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I owned the Occult shop and had my own coven. But we welcomed in all the other covens. One of the covens was Druid, for example.
Yeah.
And tried to commingle, but we found that I was teaching morals and no one else was.
Everyone else was just trying to get laid. That's the sad story, man.
It's really sad because Wicca and paganism promises something magical and beautiful and wonderful to you, right? I think it comes with a lot of fairy glamour, and that stuff is real if you're working the path in a loving way, you know, sincerely.
Well, that's cool. That's cool to hear you say that, because I kind of got that vibe from certain like groups too that I encountered along the way. High magic, you know, ceremonial magic groups. I won't name any names, and even a few people that have been on the show is like, yeah, these are like glorified swingers groups, and I'm like, what?
Exactly.
Really?
And you'll find that that's not just magical groups; that's hobby groups in general.
Oh my gosh, man. So even like
that's why I told people, like, get out of my coven, go join the bowling league, because that's basically what you're doing here.
Yeah, so even like the mysteries have been corrupted. Everything's been corrupted, Korrine. Like everything.
Yeah, it's the Lament of Hermes. If people want to look up the Lament of Hermes, he did a prophetic speech, and he speaks about life, death being more profitable than life, and how we would come to this point as a world, not just America, but as a world. And he was right, and we're definitely here. But, you know, Joe, we've been here for a long time. This is just the time when the collective gets it. The collective becomes the conspiracy theorist.
Man, that is sad. Death is more profitable than life. If we're at that state, then we got to change something. That's for sure. Like now.
Well, there's that whole royal we thing. Yeah. We got to change it. And that's the warrior in you. And I respect that warrior who's going to stand up for his neighborhood, even the entire neighborhood. But you literally cannot stand up for the world. You're one person. I'm sorry that you're not Hercules. We would love that. But there's a lot of people out there that might actually hurt themselves trying to fight the New World Order when it's just a kitten trying to get out of a bag, man.
Well, I appreciate you looking out for me. But you know what? Going down fighting evil bastards might not be a bad way to go, actually.
Yeah, it's very glorifying and Valhalla-like, and that might be your destiny.
I mean, it might not be a bad way to go, right? Like, I don't know. You every time you come on here, you give me this really, like, this feeling of like we're on the edge of the apocalypse. But you know what? Look around. I don't think anything is not showing that. I feel like this whole COVID thing is a setup. I mean, I'm going to say it. Like, I don't care what anybody on the station says or what anybody out there says. Like, this is all a big setup for power and money. It's what it is. It's too obvious.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Have you talked to Freeman lately? Have you had a chance to talk to him?
I did talk. Yeah, believe me. I was like, Freeman Fly, what's going on? You know. So I cornered Freeman Fly on the phone. And he was, so this was a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I did tweet about it at occultpriestess.com. But of course, you can just follow Freeman at freemantv.com or Freeman TV. He said that he was more concerned about what was going on in our skies. He's concerned about the comets and also the net that's going up, the transhumanism net to track us all, Elon Musk's work, basically, all of that. So he's got his eyes to the sky.
Well, that's a good thing because we were talking about that a long time ago, man. These grids they're putting up it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The amount of satellites
living in LA,
we're about to have.
I actually get to see them going up often, way too often. You know what I mean? It's unnerving.
Like, do you remember the time? I think it was sometime last year, or even it was like China and Japan. They were even talking about putting up like billboards in the sky. Like the space, so we could all see their advertisements in our night sky. I mean, how crappy of a world would that be, right?
Yeah, extremely crappy. It's Blade Runner on crack.
That's where we're headed, though. Seriously, there's going to be more satellites. I think it was going to be like 46,000 or something satellites in the night sky. 46,000. That's only the ones that they're telling us about that they're letting these open companies bid on for internet stuff. It's not the military ones. It's not the secret stuff.
Right. DARPA.
It's not the weapons. I'm going to say something kind of weird here, but like there literally could be a war going on behind the scenes right now. We don't even see. Like this isn't like 1930s where everybody's going to put their helmets on and go shoot each other. The wars that happen now are way more behind the scenes, way more technological, way more covert. Unfortunately, the citizens are always going to be the ones that get the worst of it, you know?
Yeah, because I believe it's blood sacrifice of war to their god. What does Alex Jones call it? Moloch.
Moloch. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know. I think he's kind of, I don't know, Korrine. You do respect that I don't know, right? Like, I don't know if that's true or not. Of course.
Why should you know? You're still in the wonderment of it all.
Yeah, I still like life, actually. I'm not ready to die yet, you know? But I can see where a lot of us have lost that passion to fight and die for things that we love and care about. I mean, they've totally done that to us. So right now we're only fighting for things that we need for like basic survival. But back in the day, as humans, we used to fight for sovereignty and freedom and liberty. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like we were a different species. I mean, when I look at old movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I look at humanity, I see their addictions. I see their personal problems that they're not dealing with. And we could say that personal issue is becoming the New World Order monster beast system.
Yeah. Yeah.
As magical thinkers, we could say that.
So before we go to their first break, like, the daily, I'm sure people wonder this, like daily stuff. What does Korrine do daily? Do you meditate? Do you do Buddhist stuff? Do you have your own blend of magic that you do daily? Or what do you do?
I haven't. The last time I did magic was early February, where I took the magazine for the Conscious Life Expo that had Russell Brand's signature on it and his picture and a bunch of other shills, and I put it on my altar. And it was only a couple weeks after that, everyone was locked down, and I haven't let it leave the altar. So it's very interesting that I might have kicked off the New World Order just by doing that. So I giggle at myself with that.
I thought you loved Russell Brand. You say he's a shill now? I thought you liked him.
I always said he was a shill.
Oh, okay.
I was always after him. So, Hermes is a trickster. Don't think I fall too far behind that apple tree.
You know what you ought to do? You ought to do a magic ritual to get Russell Brand to give you a call. That's what you ought to do. No,
that's okay. I understand everything that's going on with him. I just needed to figure it out. I'm done. And that's why I put it on the altar like, God, this was my mission. I'm completed, and here you go. Do your worst. Because I'm not the goddess of justice. The goddess of justice is. She does what she needs to do. But I just thought it was interesting that the whole world changed after I did that, and I hadn't done ritual in years. And so I'm not really a magical person in the sense that I'm trying to get my egoic whims fulfilled through magic, because you can do that, and that's how we get rich people. But I don't do that because it's immoral. And so I definitely meditate. But the thing is that I'm always in constant conversation with the gods. I've always have that window open. So we call it the conversation that never ends. And it's just a song in my heart that's always there. And I help others, mostly, is what I'm doing. I'm helping others upon their path, and I'm warning everybody about New World Order, where it came from, and what we can do about it.
The NWO. And speaking of justice, we've got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with the Occult Priestess. Y'all stay with us.
Listen, now is not the time to fear. When your immune system is strong, shields up. You have very little worries. If your immune system is compromised, you're susceptible to all viruses. I say shields up and no fear. Try Heart Love from GetTheTea.com. Heart Love has a special ingredient called allicin. It comes from the healing part of the garlic plant. No garlic breath. No garlic leaking out your pores, just pure immune-building ingredients that gets your shields up. Heart Love is a unique blend of herbs that loves to build you up. Google garlic and know the benefits. One Heart Love pill is equal to 20 cloves of garlic. 20 cloves! Shields up. You've heard of our Life Change Cleansing Tea at GetTheTea.com. Now try Heart Love. And by the way, take your blood pressure and watch weekly what happens. So here's how to purchase. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com and build your shields. That's GetTheTea.com. Mention Ray in the coupon code and hit apply and receive free shipping.
This is Barbara Charlton from Metaphorical Archaeology. If you've ever had a traumatic paranormal experience, the effects of it may stay with you for years. Who do you talk to? You can't go to conventional help. What we do is we use emotional freedom techniques or tapping to actually neutralize the effects of that event. Maybe when you tell the story now, your heart races and your palms get sweaty. You don't even want to think about it because you don't know how to neutralize that. That's what EFT tapping does. It neutralizes those emotions. The circuit that was recorded on is gone. The energy flows freely and you're free of it. And that's what emotional freedom is all about. We offer this as a pro bono service, but this is something that I offer because no one, it seems, is helping people with these experiences. If you'd like to reach me, it's really easy. My cell phone is 214-995-3754. Please leave a message. I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Or you can email me, barb.eft@gmail.com. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Reach out to me. It's confidential. This works. You won't believe the results.
All right, man, this is Crow 777, and you are listening to The Fringe FM.
Right, me old Chiners. I know it's an ad break, but before you lot shoot off and make yourself a cup of Rosie Lee or whatever else it is you're going to sling down your Gregory Peck, you need to listen to me babble. If, like me, you found your way to Light in the Void via a downloadable podcast, you might want to take a butcher's at the Fringe FM Wind and Kite. You won't Adam and Eve how many other shows there are or what they rabbit on about. Ancient history, conspiracy, the consciousness, the esoteric, the occult, metaphysics, parapolitical, ufology, technology and spirituality, to name but a few. They got featured hosts like Ryan Gable, Jeremy Scott, Alex Exum, Tim Doyle, Cortana and Gigi, Susanna Ross, the Reverend John Polk, Michael Deacon and J.D. Lewis. You might find yourself listening to the thoughts and theories of the author of The Fish you just finished reading. Or you could pick up the dog and bone, call in and tell everyone your own beliefs or experiences. So do me a favour, before you put on the Ansel or crack open a bottle of vino or roll a joint, go to the Fringe FM and see what you're missing.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 945-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. That's 945-882-7221. Or go to the website angioprim.com.
From a cave in the depths of your mind, it's Lighting the Void with Joe Root.
Hey, I'm J.M. DeBoard, and when I want to talk about dreams, I look up my man Joe Root and his show, Lighting the Void.
You're listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
Well, I have to apologize about something, the previous broadcast that came on. There were some technical errors during JD's show, and we will be fixing all that. Just bear with us. Everything is going to be fixed. It'll be back to normal the way it was. The Occult Priestess is here with us, Korrine. And Korrine, I got to tell you, though, you made me feel kind of bad because sometimes I do magic rituals for money. I want to be rich.
You're allowed to do that. You're not me. I'm not telling you you're wrong or bad. I mean, where did I say that? I just said I don't do it and I don't teach it.
You know that song, right? Everybody wants to be rich.
Oh, but Joe, don't you understand with your lifestyle right now, living the way that you do, you're already richer than most people. Most people are going to have to worry about where their food is coming from, where their water is coming from. Very basic needs, dude. You're rich on a mountaintop.
Not if they just pick up and come out here. We can all live together and we'll take care of each other. We'll build a garden, we'll kill stuff if we have to. It'll be fine. And then
I'm definitely a meat eater, and I appreciate real men who know how to hunt and get me some meat. Thank you very much. I know how to cook yummy things.
Yeah, so if I killed a deer, cleaned it, chopped it up, all that stuff, and brought it to you, you could take care of the rest, right?
Yeah, all the spicing and everything. Yeah, it's just herbs, man. I'm a witch. I'm real good at that.
Well, I am kind of shocked at, oh my God. Hold on. One of those big dung beetles just flew in the shack. Those things freak me out.
Oh, that's a sign.
Well,
Renewal.
How come they always land on their back and they can never get back on their feet?
They're loud.
Damn, it feels like, they feel like pterodactyls when they hit you, though. Like a plane is going by you, It never not freaks me out.
I know what pterodactyls feel like.
Well, it freaks me out. I just got rid of them.
They're big, humming. They're like hum. It's the vibration.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I turn the air conditioner on, and other times I leave the door open, for power reasons, stuff like that.
Of course.
Yep. I could probably hear it, man. It sounds like an electric guitar when it flies by, man. That's how crazy these things are.
Yeah, man. They're really good at oming.
Well, you said it's a good sign. What does it mean?
So they're a symbol from ancient Egypt, and they're a sign of renewal that's based upon the dung beetle. And so it's about life eternal, basically. Oh, yeah. Am I going through a renewal? Maybe I am. We all are, Joe. It's the miracle. It just hasn't happened yet. Okay. So. But we were talking about going back to nature. That was the topic, and that you're already there, and we just need to meet you there. Well, make sure you bring your mosquito repellent and off and any citronella candles that you have. What's a natural? Well, that's a bit of cognitive dissonance. We would grow herbs that we would make into oils to put on our bodies. We wouldn't buy it from the man. I was just going to ask you, what is the witchy way to do that? That's the perfect oil? Everything you can find in a pharmaceutical place, you're going to find in nature. It came from nature first, and then it went to the lab, and the mad scientists got a hold of it. The thing about herbs is you need to use them in concentration. You can't just use a little bit of lavender and think it's going to do the trick. And these are the lost arts of alchemy and paganism that we've lost through all of these genocides. Is there anything about our history that's good, that you think is good, that's good and beautiful? I remember being in Greece and being a frolicking, beautiful maiden. I loved that time. And before that in Egypt, and also the Hindu traditions. If you read their stories of the far ancient past where they frolicked in a heaven-like world, there's many stories like that. Hindu's religion's pretty cool. I will admit that. They're pretty cosmic. I think they're the most cosmic that we've had. And that, as I study alchemy and hermetics and the ancient Greek tradition, which is our Western mysticism, as I study that, I just keep finding the Hindu. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did we totally just steal this? Yeah, we did, actually. So they integrated the Kabbalah with the chakra system, and that's about it. So you could use just about every caste or god system you want to on the Tree of Life. They made it all correspond very perfectly. Well, that's Abrahamic mixing with the Egyptian, and you may argue with me. Anybody can argue with me because I have no evidential proof. I only know my past lives. That the Abrahamics actually attacked the Egyptians and murdered the Egyptians and stole their magic. I was shown that we did not have slaves. They were not Abrahamic slaves. We took them in under our wing and we taught them the ways, because that's what you do with strangers. You teach them the way because they came to you. And so, yeah, that's where we lost our tradition, and then it became something like Kabbalah that we have today. Yeah, it's really crazy that you say that, because Daskalos, the guy that I've had on here, he's a Christian mystic, but he traces everything back through the Essenes, back through the Hebrews, back to Egypt, and the Tree of Life that he has. It's kind of totally different. It's not. It's structured the same,
but the symbols and everything are different. And he's like, this is the original tree. This is the one that came from Egypt. This is the one that came from the mystery schools. And you'd have to get his book. It's called the key. What's it called? The Symbol of Life is what it's called.
That sounds beautiful. And if we were allowed as occultists just to get on planes and go to Egypt and look at our history, we'd know a lot more than sending strangers there to go for us and to take pictures and do interpretations.
So if you've lived all of your past lives and stuff, do you remember like Atlantis at all? Do you remember what that was?
Actually, no. When I was a new age baby, like when I was a baby witch, a lot of the people around me spoke of Atlantis like with their whole heart, and they bonded over it, like over wine or something they were drinking, and they would bond over Atlantis. And I'd be like, dude, I'm not in that club. I'm not a part of that. And I've spoken with Hermes, my spirit guide, about it. And he said, no, my love, if Atlantis hadn't happened, you wouldn't have had to been here. So it was the issue that happened in Atlantis that brought my soul to earth for the first time.
Because I have these, like I've had these dreams of places. I was telling Lori McDonald about that. Because she does.
Oh, really? But she's a psychic medium. She talks to the dead, right? And she also hypnotizes people.
Yeah, right. And I've had dreams about a place. Like I know it's not Egypt. I know it's not. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It has.
But sweetie, you need to understand that that's probably multi-dimensional. It's probably not Earth.
But it has everything, man. It's like a utopia almost.
You mean, what is everything? Because some people think that means McDonald's.
No, hell no. Not McDonald's is like hell compared to this place.
Exactly.
So, no, man, it's got like desert, beach, nature, woods, jungle, hills, farmland. It's all there. But the only thing that I could say is like different is everybody's skin tone is different. They still look the same. Like I know who, like when I see certain people, like I know who they are. And then
what color are we?
Darker, a little bit darker, all of us.
Are there animals?
I don't see that. I don't remember animals, but I do remember hearing them. Don't remember seeing them. And the stars that I saw were bright. I'm talking about super duper bright.
Our ancient past looks very different to these eyes that we have now. So they could very well have been ancient past of Earth.
You think so? I want to figure that out. I think everybody wants to figure that out, you know?
This is why we meditate, because that's your one-way ticket to the other side.
Damn. See, I think we're all on the verge of like lighting up our star vehicles, our Merkabas. Like we just need to get there.
Exactly. And I have videos about that, actually. Well, the first one is called Mercurial Alchemy. And these are straight from Hermes, basically, because he wants to teach through the internet and through media. And he told me about the dimensions merging. The fourth dimension is the twilight zone, which is what we're entering now. I did a video at the beginning of the year called The Art of War. And it was a prophetic video, and I very rarely do those. But I was telling everyone war is coming. You can watch it. It's about 30 minutes long. And it is my warning to humanity. I did that once before with Fukushima. I warned humanity then, and they actually put me in the psych ward. This time, I guess I handled it much better.
Whoa, hold on a second. You've been put in the psych ward?
Several times through being a psychic. It's modern witch burning.
Damn, this is all starting to make sense now. I knew you was a little psychotic, just a little bit. But
if you're not crazy, you'll never be sane.
No, I'm just playing. There's supposedly like a show on Netflix about that. I forget the name of it, where this woman's got like schizophrenia or something, but it turns out it could be like a gift. I need to watch it. It's somebody knows the name of that show. I want to watch it.
Usually when we say schizophrenia, there's a violence involved and really dark entities involved, which are usually dead people. But the person who is being psychotic is psychic, as we call psychics.
Yeah, or lunatic because you're being influenced by the moon, kind of.
Right, and nature and that side of the brain, which is anti-science, basically. It's not logical.
It's not the OA Night Stalker. This is a new show. This is a brand new show I need to watch. But I just had an epiphany. Like I thought I was having a past life, but maybe. like Night Stalker says, that I'm working in the future, and I think it might just be my new job at the zoo, and I get a really good tan. I think that might be what it is. You know, I might just give up on radio and start working at the zoo. I love the zoo. But no, it's funny that you mentioned that earlier about Twilight, because the front of the book of the Golden Dawn, like Israel Regardie's Golden Dawn book, if you look at it, it just says like the Golden Dawn, and then it's got a sunrise coming over, like a really gold looking sunrise coming over a blue stream of water with a hexagram. But what that really is Twilight. That's what it's showing you.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way before.
And even in the Rosicrucian or Golden Dawn rituals, they say that, like, what's one of the mysteries, and one of the, you know, officers will say Twilight, you know. It's like, it's real Egyptian. I love that mystery. Yeah. It's totally Egyptian. But yeah, go ahead.
You have to clean out the subconscious in order to get into the pure twilight. Most magicians nowadays are going back to abusive childhood circles in their subconscious, where they have demons, they've got ancestors and people that abused them when they were a child, and recordings of abuse as well. So they've got all of this horror going on in their subconscious. And I argue that you can't do loving practical magic from a space like that you need to heal the subconscious, which allows you to get into the fourth dimension clean, away from demons and or aliens.
I got to tell you though, just hearing you talk about that, I do have this like warlike thing in me, honestly. I don't know why a guy like me can never catch somebody or find people that do that, because I'd beat the brakes off of people that did that. I'd probably drag them down the road behind a pickup truck. There's probably a reason why I don't ever find them, you know? Like I'm not denying that stuff happens, but those people don't need to be alive, period.
Well, in our ancient past, we could smell when someone was psychotically wrong, when there was something off about them, almost as if like they had rabies or something, and we would kill them. It was a natural instinct.
That's terrible. It's so bad. It is. That's awful. But now, what do you think about Trump, though? I hear her tell that he's been catching some of these folk.
Right, because the Q people are saying that, this is the report going on from the Q people, that President Trump is here to get rid of the deep state and to expose the child sex predators among the elite. And Q is occult now. If everybody must agree with that, they have followers and they're all thinking the same thing. It's a group mind, and it is also really steeped in apocryphal Christianity, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it does seem that way. But who's going to be the new Antichrist, do you think? Who's going to be the savior?
I mean,
Bill
he's
Gates?
got all these sixes everywhere. Bill Gates is playing the 666 game like a child.
Don't they say, like in Revelations, that the Antichrist is going to perform miracles, and it's going to be like, people are going to think it's Jesus, and he's going to be the savior? And I remember hearing Pastor What's-His-Face say that when I was a kid, you know, that he's going to be the new savior, and he's going to put a mark on your hand and on your forehead. And I don't think people could really see through that, you know. They have to look at it literally, but at the same time, it gets kind of confusing, because in the Kabbalistic lore, 666 is the number of the sun. It's actually the Christ-like being. Hello.
And 6 in numerology is Venus or Aphrodite.
Yeah.
And the female is always demonized in the Abrahamic.
So what if it's just a bunch of disinfo, right?
Well, I think most of it is. One famous CIA guy said, when what most of Americans believe is a lie, we know we've succeeded. This is the operation of confusion. This is the chaos of Eris. This is the golden apple of the now, for real. Our lives will never be the same.
You're starting to scare me, Cora. But you know what?
Does the truth scare you, or do I scare you?
You scare me a little bit, just to be honest with you. You scare me slightly, but the truth doesn't scare me. I can handle the truth no matter how crazy or brutal it is. In fact, I'd much rather hear it than, you know, somebody pet my head and not be careful about what they tell me. But I don't, like Maynard, the lead singer of Tool and A Perfect Circle, like Maynard James Keenan. This guy come out and was raised, just admitted that he was raised a Southern Baptist like me. And he was like, I really understood that all of this stuff was kind of like, it didn't make sense to me. And so he started doing his own esoteric study and work and digging in and trying to find out stuff, only to find out later that really you just kind of have to go with whatever comes. It's not like he was being a nihilist or apathetic, but more like the more aware you become about things, the more empowered you become as time moves on. And I think people they don't like thinking about this stuff because they say, oh, it's negative or this or that. But it's really like, it's not negative to know about all of the good and all of the bad. And like, that's wisdom. That way you can move through things a lot better. You can dodge bullets even sometimes, if you know what you're doing. And see, this is something
it's part of my job to know the future as a psychic counselor. I need to know what's coming up.
Can you tell me my future?
And I learned that in my childhood, that I needed to know if I was going to get hit. I needed to know if I was going to be attacked because I had an abusive childhood, an abusive household. So I'm still just the warning signal for mankind. Really, that's how I feel. I'm not fear-mongering. This is happening. And that's what I predicted at the beginning of this year with the help of Hermes, my spirit guide. He said, this is the year everyone gets their they live glasses. We will no longer be operating on faith. The loss of faith, because people will know evil is real. It will be right in front of them and they will not be able to deny it. Willful ignorance isn't going to be excused. So I was sat down and told this very seriously before 2020. So everyone can see that evil exists. Other people who study the light, you come up against evil because they're attacking you because you're studying the light. So even somebody who's just studying the occult, trying to look for God, has been attacked and understands what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I get it. The apocalypse is coming and all, but I'm pretty selfish right now. Can you tell me what my future is? What's my future?
I don't have my cards.
Just tell me what you're feeling. That I was about to call you the siren actually, and then I heard a siren go off in the background. It's kind of synchronistic.
Well, my pagan name is Banshee, so whale, motherfucker, whale.
Yeah. Dang it, I don't have the dump button. That was the one time I was going to be able to use. Hey, y'all want to hear what this thing sounds like when I hit? So I'm going to build the dump button just in case Korrine says it again. You ready? Here we go. It plays this weird music. And more than likely, you guys are going to hear what we already said. I want to hear what this sounds like. That's the dump button, though. Listen. It sounds like a game show thing, doesn't it?
I just hear like a tambourine.
Yeah, well, there was this little game show thing that went off. Now they're probably hearing what we already said. But we just jumped ahead of you guys and we just time warped, Cor. You and I did.
How did that happen?
We just time warped, totally time warped, right?
Well, that's also in my videos on YouTube. I totally talk about the time warp in the Twilight Zone.
Really?
Yes, I literally do.
Why don't you talk to us about it? You're here now, though. Do we have to go watch the videos?
Because when I'm doing videos, it's all very expressive from my inner soul. And when I am a personality here in this body talking to you, I'm much more human. So I can't express all the abstractness through just voice.
That's terrible. I can.
People get lost in my thoughts and I can't get them out and I have to put them over to the side. Basically, I go too fast and there's too much information. So I try to keep it slow and on the down low.
Man, that's terrible because I think you should open up all the way now on Lighting the Void.
I'll go for it. The fourth dimension is where the dead people exist. And we are now in a very intense bloodline war between good and evil. In the Christian tradition, we can say that everyone was brought here to the earth to find out the lesson of the apple. The lesson of the apple is the lesson of good versus evil, and to be able to discern good from evil before you graduate this plane of third dimension Earth. Well, guess what? Everybody's graduating because we're going to the fourth dimension, and that's where the ancestors are, dead people are, and maybe some people who are listening are also there too. If you have a very negative subconscious, if you're extremely traumatized and you hear very negative voices of the dead and you're depressed all the time, you have a very, very difficult life, it's possible that your soul right now is in what we call the bardo. We call
God.
it.
Oh
right?
my God. Listen, you're the third person that has said that on the show. Like okay, this is a trip. Someone very close to me did a tarot reading, and they said they laid out this tarot deck, and they said, okay, this is your past, this is like your present, and your future and stuff. And in the past, it was the bardo. Now, I'd never heard this term before. You guys have been listening to the show, you know this, right? Never heard this term before. And it's all about being stuck in that realm you're talking about, right? In the in-between realms. Dimension. Yeah. And so that's my past, and I'm moving away from that into this transformation and initiation type thing. But after that tarot reading, Michelle Lucas came on, talked about it. Who else talked about it? David J. Brown talked about it the other night, and now you've said it again. So that's triple
even
synchronicity.
David J. Brown.
Even David J. Brown. I mean, so that's
and he's just like a psychonaut. He's just, he eats mushrooms.
Definitely a psychonaut, and he does love mushrooms. But so that's a triple synchronicity. So that tells me like the bardo thing's got to be real. It's got to be.
It's coming to Earth. The dead are coming to Earth. But this is a thing that nobody knows and nobody talks about. Occult Priestess knows, and we'll talk about. If you have a ghost body or a pain body from a past life that is still suffering in the bardo, and a physical body here now that you call Bob or whatever, that ghost self is going to get stuck into the personality that we know as Bob, which means, so they call it the judgment. And the way that the Christians visualize the judgment is that the dead would come back to life, like the end of Ghostbusters, first movie.
That's crazy.
But that's not true. The dead are coming back to consciousness, just like the Egyptians have done for generations and lifetimes. We always come back because we are the Ankh, we are the immortal. We come back in consciousness. We realize ourselves, and that's also called enlightenment. However, when the ghost pain body self gets stuffed back into the body, you're going to have a very psychotic person, and it could be that this one person is also their great Aunt Margaret from France hundreds of years ago, who is completely confused being on this plane and in a body all of a sudden. This is the dimensions merging. But if your soul is in heaven, as above, so below, if your state of the soul is heaven-like, then you're going to be fine here too. You're not going to get all these ghosts stuffed into your body because you've already done your soul retrieval. You're of one mind with love and God. I hope that makes some kind of sense.
I think it does, but this might make sense as to why I've been having a lot of past life weird experiences come up too, though. Like,
it's called a soul retrieval in shamanic language, which is when we have very traumatic lives or we choose evil in a lifetime and we keep choosing it lifetime after lifetime, our soul light deteriorates and we can no longer vibrate high enough to get to heaven. So we have less soul light, therefore less vibration, therefore stuck in the bardo or the Christian hell with the dead people, ancestors, people that couldn't make it to heaven. Now that realm is worked on by light workers, by the Buddhists who are up in mountains chanting all the time. They have very special things to help people souls in the bardo to get to heaven. And even before someone, right before they die, we read them the Tibetan Book of the Dead to get their soul past the bardo. Now, I had sleep paralysis when I was a little girl. Every night during sleep paralysis, I was in the bardo. I had to get past the fourth dimension of hell to get into the upper heaven realms so that my soul could heal, so that I could come back and be a little girl again and have this experience. So I've been all up and down the stairs, so to speak, chutes and ladders, and I understand how it all works. And I believe in the coming years, we're all going to understand this metaphysical reality as it starts happening to us.
So it can be, oh shoot, we got to take a break, but so this could be a good thing if you just, this is definitely, see, that totally makes sense with the astrology too. Like there's a lot of people being asked right now to move into this amazing new existence according to the 700-year cycles of things.
The ascension, the rapture. Mm-hmm.
Like it's this amazing new existence that they're being pulled to, but they're also kind of like being dragged. There's things that are kind of like trying to hold them back and drag them back into the old world too. So,
but then there's the difference between the Übermensch, Superman of Nazi Germany, of Nietzsche, and Buddhism, where you have actual enlightenment of the soul. Two different things.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this when we come back with Korrine. The Occult Priestess is with us. The occultpriestess.com, that's the website. I know you guys got some questions. Use the call-in number. Call the phones. I'm going to start calling you out state by state. 1-800-588-0335. Stay with us. County by county, city by city.
The Fringe FM.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hey, this is No Way Jose, a Northern California Piscean stuck in the Arizona desert. I'm a void walker, and I got the shoes to prove it. So what do I do when my soul yearns to delve deep into the realm of the unknown? I aim my satellite straight into the night sky and catch a smooth ride on the KTLK-DB radio waves. I tune into Lighting the Void with Joe Root on the Fringe FM.
Joe, Lighting the Void is the best show on the planet. This is Barney, your friend from Facebook. Thank you and all the crew for all you do. Namaste, my friend.
This is Macon from the foothills of North Carolina, and I am a void walker.
G'day, void walkers. This is Lily from down under Australia. The world may be small, the enigma is greater. So let your curiosity take you for a journey with Joe Root.
Hey, this is V, coming in from Central Maryland. And I am a void walker.
This is Kevin Doherty, a beginner void walker. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I know a little about a lot, and as Leonard Skinner said, I guess the rest. I learned a lot from Mr. Root in the show, and I heard it from the beginning. I knew right then he was going to be a new Art Bell. Thanks for all your shows, and keep it up.
Hey, this is Derek from Mass, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, and I'm a void walker.
This is Mark from Chicago, and I walk the void to ascertain what is consciousness.
My name is Jared Johnson, and I'm from Humboldt County, California. I do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I'm a void walker. Thanks, Joe Root.
I'm Clyde Lewis. You are listening to The Fringe FM.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Have you ever seen an ad or banner which brought you a feeling that someone is reading your mind or even listening to your conversations? Your online data is being used against you. Surfshark is a VPN service that makes online privacy protection easy and attainable. You can use it on as many devices as you'd like simultaneously. Surfshark encrypts all internet traffic sent to and from your devices and ensures that your IP address remains hidden. The VPN service that we use at UFO Seekers, plus 1 month free for $1.99 a month. Visit surfshark.deals/seekers.
We all have that story to tell in our lives. The winds were howling, the ground shook, you could hear rushing water, and then history repeats itself. When there's no power, refrigeration fails, stores with their shelves stripped bare, ATMs can't operate, deliveries stop. Then what? These events can last days or weeks. You need a plan. In statements made during recent interviews, FEMA Administrator Brock Long has repeatedly urged all Americans to understand 3 truths. FEMA is broke, the system is broken. If this is the new normal, Americans can't rely on federal cavalry when disaster strikes. Don't get caught out in the elements empty-handed. Prepare with us by going to preparewiththefringe.com and get your 2-week food supply. 92 servings, 8 food varieties with 25-year shelf life. Normally $137. Now only $75. Or get a month's supply, normally $247. Now only $147 shipped in 1 business day. Just go to preparewiththefringe.com or call 888-440-7931. That's 888-440-7931. Get this great offer and be prepared while it lasts.
Hey Fringe listeners, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange Radio, asking you to join us live Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fringe FM. Visit beyondthestrange.com for links to chat, social media, and schedules of the show. And remember, always stay strange. Hasta.
Somewhere between abnormal and paranormal, there's a show called Into the Paranormal. I'm Jeremy Scott. Hear me live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern on the Fringe FM.
Abnormal News, I'm Brad Bernards. NASA is naming its next-generation space telescope, currently under development, the Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope, in honor of Nancy Grace Roman, NASA's first chief astronomer, who paved the way for space telescopes focused on the broader universe.
Today, I'm so excited that we can rename this telescope for it to become the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope.
The Roman Space Telescope is set to launch in the mid-2020s. It will investigate long-standing astronomical mysteries, considered the mother of NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, which launched 30 years ago. Roman tirelessly advocated for new tools that would allow scientists to study the broader universe from space.
It's hard to decide how history will view my accomplishments. People generally aren't terribly interested in what gets things started.
She left behind a tremendous legacy in the scientific community when she died in 2018. We tend to think of asteroids and comets as pretty strictly delineated categories. Comets have long looping orbits and are loaded up with volatile ices that sublimate, generating a dusty, misty halo and tail when the comet comes close to the sun. Asteroids, on the other hand, are generally considered rocky, dry, and inert, with orbits in the solar system similar to those of the planets. And a newly discovered asteroid called 2019 LD2 is truly special, an asteroid of a kind we've never seen before, according to reporting in Science Alert. It has an asteroid-like orbit, but a comet-like tail, spewing out gas like a comet would. Connect with the news at parabnormalradio.com. I'm Brad Bernards, Parabnormal News.
Mr. Walton, did you make contact with aliens? Were you taken to another planet, to a mothership? How did they communicate with... Can Can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were? Were you given food?
But the teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
What a strange person.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be?
What's outside the simulation?
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I see that which has been made hidden. It's a part of a family amongst lords of consciousness. I'm the void walker.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void. We're in our second hour here. Our guest tonight, the Occult Priestess, Korrine's with us. And she's been talking about some trippy stuff. The third time the Bardo has been mentioned on this show. Number 3, that the dead are coming alive, that the apocalypse is happening. And I kind of believe it. If you go outside, it's like the Twilight Zone out there. You are starting to trip me out a little bit, Cor. Just a little bit by what you're saying. And although I find it pretty cool, though, that I do know that some of us are like going through these big time initiations right now, that should make you happy. Like if you're starting to feel love that you've never felt before in your life, or understanding love and compassion that you've never had before. I mean, that's kind of like a Buddhist thing, right? Isn't that what the Buddhists understood after suffering? They understood what love and compassion was all about.
Yeah, any properly alchemizing religion or spiritual law will take you through to self-compassion.
And I think, having compassion for others, but at the same time, I think you start to realize the balance of it all. Like you say, you can't change the world, but you can do your part. You can do your part in your community. You can do your part with your people. You can get your voice out there, put a little dent in whatever you need to put a little dent in. And, it's not really about, the whole thing has never been about fame and glory and, being showered in money and riches, although that would be kind of cool. It's more about like freedom, sovereignty, understanding our own power, our own personal power, who we are and where we come from. And all these people have just came here time after time. They're not all even like spiritual people. Like you heard Robert Monroe's voice. I mean, he wasn't like a spiritual guru guy, but he was damn sure an explorer of consciousness and understood that there was all these different dimensions and what's called the Bardo and stuff like that he experienced. And so I think all of these people, including Cora, has been like preparing us for this stuff. And now, I mean, I really kind of do believe we're at this kind of precipice where we got to do something. We have to make a choice. It does feel that way. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we had a lot of hype around 2012, and a lot of people thought that was a choice point, and a lot of people made their choices at that point. But that's a collective thing about making choices as humanity as a whole. And right now, we're going back to the apple lesson of Christianity, the apple lesson of good versus evil. What we're dealing with right now is what I call Persephone's lesson. And her lesson is within the pomegranate. And I do have videos about the apple and the pomegranate. But the pomegranate, when you open it up, you see that it's all divided. Every seed is away from each other. And it almost could look like a chaotic mess. And you open an apple and everything is uniform and ordered and beautiful. So what we're right now as a collective, we are separated, not just social distancing. You could say that was a symptom that of a mental illness that the world has that presented as social distancing and mask wearing. Persephone, who is the goddess I was in a past life, believe it or not, she is a core aspect of my soul. And she is the goddess basically of Halloween and spring. Now, wow. Halloween is mask wearing. It is to put on a front. Now, we used to wear the masks, and the story goes that we dressed up for Halloween to scare away dead people and to scare away demons and spooky, frightening things because we knew the veil was thin. So we dressed up like one of them so that we were not attacked by them. And then we can see this theme playing out in our life right now. In fact, the Persephone theme is huge right now. Some people are being rescued by Hermes or the Psyche from Hades, which is the story of Persephone's soul, and many maidens throughout lifetimes. So understand Persephone's story is an archetypal story, but it's also one that we experience as people, boy or girl.
It's like the hero's journey of the feminine energy, maybe? Is that what it is?
Most definitely. Well, it doesn't even, because we're hermaphroditic in our mind. We're masculine and feminine, left brain, right brain, the Tao. Everything in this dualistic third dimensional world is going to be black and white like the chessboard. But now we're hitting the twilight zone, which means the chessboard starts to go a little rainbowy and things are going to get a little weird. And it's not just 5G and it's not just Elon Musk and it's not just smart cities. This stuff is going to get spiritually interdimensionally weird. I don't know when, but I'm excited about that part.
No, man, there's a lot of people. You know what? There's a lot of astrologers, like the good ones, that have been saying that like 2020 through 2021, it's going to be like this time where you feel like you're in between realms, that there's going to be weird stuff that happens. Even sometimes you're not going to know like what's reality and what's not. And the only thing that kind of keeps people together or keeps people sane and grounded is love, compassion, and the heroes. You know, it's crazy that you're talking about that, really. Now that I remember hearing something about all of this, actually. But it was like said in a different way. So this is like, you know, you were telling me during break, it's like Joseph Campbell times, but he wasn't playing about all that, though. This is really like some serious alchemy going on here, huh?
As you called it, it's initiation time. Some of us have graduated and gone through all these initiations, and we're here to help. And we're still going to go through the collective hell of mankind. I do believe that history is a hell that we all need to wake up from. We've been under the yoke of tyranny for generations, our parents, and all of that. So the freedom and sovereignty is about our souls, really. All of the politics and the things that we can see on the news are symptoms of what's actually going on in the hell realm or the bardo or the fourth dimension. It's a spiritual war and it's a bloodline war. I don't really talk about this much, but I am the grandniece of Senator and astronaut John Glenn. And I do believe being related to him gave me keys to open doors that other people couldn't in the astral planes. And I understand a lot more about our space programs and how LSD was used and how psyops are used to scare the sheeple into whatever little box they want us in. And right now it's the Agenda 21 box that they want us in.
Man, And that is just in a state of confusion, right? In a state of fear and confusion, basically.
It's Eris's apple of chaos and discord. So again, back to the Greek, she had a golden apple, and she said, whoever is the most beautiful, whoever chooses what? Who was that? Somebody chose. That poor guy. Do you remember the story? Of the what? The Eris
He
had to
story?
choose the most beautiful goddess and give her the apple, but I don't remember who he was. But all the goddesses got pissed and started fighting.
It was It was Eris, though, right? The god of war or whatever, or the son of the god of war.
No, it's Eris. Eris, and she's the goddess of chaos.
I get those confused too. I get to study up on my mythology better.
Well, you'll understand your world more if you understand Greek mythology. And that's what Joseph Campbell would tell you.
Damn it. You're right. Yeah, there's so much to learn, actually.
That's why we call it the occult.
I thought about like taking a break. I need to take a break from the show and just go to school for a while. You know? Like, I really do.
Where are you going to learn this stuff, dude? I didn't learn it in school. I learned it in Astral School, the Great White Lodge of Ascended Masters.
I might learn it, like, you know where I learned all the bad stuff in my life was on the school bus. So I guess you got a point. Might as well just stay here.
And in jail, you learn how to be a criminal. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, like, we don't have to have this talk, Dad, about, the birds and the bees. I rode the school bus. I know everything about it, So, yeah, I get it.
But even our schools were created by the United Nations in Theosophy through Alice Bailey. And before that, it was Theosophy with Blavatsky and Crowley teaching everything in the occult, because you can barely pick up a book these days without Crowley all over it. So I just know that what's good has been inverted. And we are living in an inverted version of reality. And we can call that the upside down, or we can call it the bardo.
Well, look, I really... I've always wanted to get into this on this show a little bit. And I kind of did through Amalia's podcast, where she did a podcast called Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda, right? And it was really all about understanding these energies. And, Nish kind of touched on it last night. But it's funny you bring Crowley up. And earlier we were talking about how a lot of these covens and a lot of these places are just like swingers clubs or whatever. That whole notion of union of male and female energy thing is supposed to be like the highest love that you can experience in life, the highest and most sacred form of love that you can physically experience, and it's been turned into a sport. Like, it's not sacred whatsoever.
It's in a conquest.
Yeah, and that, my friends, I hate to tell you this, I'm probably going to sound like a complete nutcase when I say this, but that is the beginnings of the downfall of humanity and the biggest and the largest ripple effect ever known to man. It's what's caused abuse. It's what's caused confusion. It's what it causes people to feel stuck. It causes all pain you can't imagine. It puts dents in your soul, right? Because we're taking something that was given to us from heaven, and it's so sacred, and we use it as an end goal. Like, if we make enough annual income that we're going to have a nice little house where we can just have it's all about physical whatever, and it's stupid. There's no sanctuary for real.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Is sacred but we still keep casting our pearls among swine. But now it's going to be easier to tell who the swine are. And that's, for the audience, you guys, some people are going to lose friends. Some people are going to lose family members in the sense that you're no longer friends with your family members. I don't mean they're going to die. I mean, you're going to lose them because they're going to be a part of the illusion. And you need to be able to learn how to let go of people who are going to be part of the illusion.
Damn, that's harsh. That really
is. It's love, baby. It is deep, powerful love, just like what you were speaking about. Because the original male and female, that Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
What?
You could totally love people from far away, though.
Oh, yeah, and pray for them and keep them, in your heart. But interacting with them is going to be more and more unhealthy. I'm not just warning you. I'm telling you to prepare. I'm telling you to get right with yourself so that you become your own best friend and that you don't have to become an order follower like other people.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I remember, I talk about this a lot, but I do remember, you know how he's talking about earlier, like a third of the human race has depression and anxiety. That's pretty freaking sad, man. That's a big number.
I would say that's a very low number as well.
It's still huge though. And the thing is like when I really dug down and did the work, like the shadow work of understanding where my anxiety came from, even though it took like, I had to do like drugs to get it to come out, you know, but then it triggered the rest of it to come out. This was all about not being my genuine and authentic self and trying to live a life that others made me feel like I should live.
Exactly. And how many people are given over to that beast right now?
Yeah, exactly. And these other people are people that loved me. I'm not doubting that they didn't love me. And I'm not doubting that I didn't love them. And I still do. But they all had to understand that I'm a unique snowflake, just like each and every one of you. There's nobody here that's exactly the same as the other. And you can't live your life to the expectations of any category, society, family, friend, whatever. You can't do it. Not even for your children. And that's even a harder one to come to, because we love our children more than, I mean, I would die for my son. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't live a lie for your son because that's not love.
No, exactly. I wouldn't. And my son knows that, you know, but I still was like, when I made this decision to do this whole thing, I went to him, I said, look, you know, I can keep this thing, keep going. And he's a Taurus, right? So deep down, like he wants the material stuff, you know, but he really loved me, man. Like we have a bond, and he's like, I want you to be happy, and I have faith in you that this is all going to turn out the way it's supposed to anyways. Like, I don't want you to be miserable. Nobody likes miserable Joe. Trust me. At least he does.
And there's the people that are people pleasers who are terribly miserable on the inside, but they're Little Miss Sunshine on the outside.
Sunshine, that's a good movie, actually. Yeah. Yeah, but do you think maybe they're that way because they just haven't figured out how to love themselves yet?
Well, of course.
You know, I don't think they're bad at all. I just think they haven't learned to love themselves.
Well, that's debatable. If you've gotten through 30 years of your life and you're still acting like a 5-year-old, then yeah, you might be evil. Because it's all about the diminishing of that soul light. The soul light makes you bright, it makes you smart, it makes you intellectual, and it makes you imaginary. It gives you the third eye that sees all, as we were talking about on break, seeing all, 360.
Yeah, like this, you can't, like there is an energy right now in my physical atmosphere that's trying to control me from going and doing what I need to do. I think a lot of us have. I think
we could all say that right now.
Yeah,
I can't
right.
leave the house without a mask on my frickin' face.
Like we all have those things that are holding us from going on our path right now. But I'm telling you, and maybe it's because I'm more of a fiery, airy kind of guy, but I really have learned to have faith in my life and follow in my spirit, because it has never let me down. And I mean, in the biggest ways. And a lot of times it's scary because you're like taking this step, almost like that Indiana Jones movie where he's looking from one cave to the other, but he can't really see the bridge, right? And you know which one? Have you seen that movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark? I think that's
it. Of course.
And he's like,
at the movie theater when I was a little girl.
Exactly.
Like,
it's such a cool movie, right? And his dad, like Sean Connery, is telling him, he's like, you got to take that leap of faith, you know? You don't see it, but you got to take it.
I've done that physically in real life, and I heard it in my head, like, jump, girl, jump, and I literally jumped towards my goal, physically. And I felt like I was going through hyperspace. The hero's journey is very exciting, and that's what we're all on, regardless of what's going on in the media or the outside world, or even that I have to wear a mask. That's part of my hero's journey.
But you know something, too, that I understand, that I really do understand. Even though I didn't grow up with a mother, I grew up with a grandmother, and mothers, and this is like really precious to me. So I'm curious to know what you think about it. But a lot of mothers, people with motherly type energy, are even worse, like stuck positions, because they have a nest that they've they've really invested in, built up. They've taken their time to make this nest for their families, for their children, for things like that do involve, bloodlines and material stuff and everything else. And deep on the inside, they're being pulled to like trust that it's okay to not focus on that so much. But then there's this other energy that's like, yeah, but I can't. And I really only think, I don't know what mythology this would go under, but I really only think like mothers understand that kind of thing.
When you give birth to a child, something changes within your entire soul, and you bond with this other being in a way that can only happen on Earth, honestly. And I bonded similarly with my mother. And so what that special thing is pure unadulterated love with no judgment whatsoever. It is just all pervasive love. It's healthy. That's the problem that we have, is romantic love is extremely unhealthy, and familial love, maybe most of the time what I found with clients is that family love is about being in a cult. It is about wearing a mask that they expect you to wear. So what happens with the mother of a new child, she makes her own decisions whether she's going to sell out and placate and please everyone, Mary frickin' Sunshine,
Mary
or
Poppins, yeah.
if she's going to protect that child with the truth and deep love of an authentic mother.
Yeah, that's. I'm telling you, I watched my grandmother Ann, and my grandmother Roop go through stuff like that in their life several times. And it always kind of sucked because I was never their direct child, so I never got that attention or that kind of. It didn't matter though. I loved them dearly, and I saw them go through these things. And yeah, but I'm curious. See, because I'm a romantic. I don't think romantic love is unhealthy. Why do you think it's unhealthy?
No, I'm saying romantic love, the way that it's defined in our current culture, is disgusting codependency. It has nothing to do with actually
a little bit,
loving someone. Like, oh my God, you're sick, let's take you to the hospital. That kind of, even an emergency type of love. And what we have today is mostly these hollow relationships where sex is found very quickly and there's a quick bonding psychically, but it's very shallow.
It's an imprint.
And the moment something goes wrong, then you're not in love anymore because something went wrong. And then all of a sudden it's over. That's not that soul catching love, like really looking deeply into someone's eyes and saying, oh my God, I know you. I know you. And feeling that. And well, I hear music and all kinds of things when that happens. So
and hearts and rainbows. Yeah. That's very cool that you've experienced that though, that you've actually know. So you know what I'm talking about then.
Of course.
100%. Right. So yeah, like I got to tell you, like I can't name her name, but my family member, my cousin, literally one of my cousins waited till they got married to do, they did it like the Christian way, man, and
to lose her virginity.
Yeah. And I mean, she was one of the most beautiful girls in school too. Like a lot of dudes wanted to date her, but my uncle was a very hard ass when it comes to that kind of, I mean, he didn't even let them wear makeup until they were like 17 kind of thing, but he knew the world, right? Like he knew the world. He knew exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And, they have got the most beautiful, loving relationship I've ever seen in my entire life. Ever.
Wow. Purity, man.
It's crazy, right? But they didn't bond. That's my whole point about what I was saying earlier. I'm not trying to get like high and mighty on people, but they didn't bond through imprinting on each other like that.
Exactly, like imprinting. That's what that's like.
So if you're like me and you're a romantic and your soul is definitely tied to that intimate place, and you imprint or somebody imprints on you, it screws you up, man. Like
yeah, and it leaves your psychic window open for whatever ickies or ancestors they might have after them.
God bless. And then you have to get it all off of you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got to do like,
worth it.
I had to do like ritual baths and all this other stuff, prayers, everything. You get it off of you. But even the other people that are aware of these type of things, that like, for instance, Mary, who comes on the show and helps us, is still concerned, that imprint's still there. And I'm like, it's gone. I got rid of it. So please. So there are people that worry about that. They understand this thing, you shouldn't it's one thing to love, be compassionate, and help people, do what you can for people. But Jesus, watch yourselves energetically. Seriously. Watch yourselves. I'm just asking anybody that can hear what I'm saying right now, because of what I've lived through and experienced and all of the letdowns and all of the heartache and everything, it's better to not do it that way. That's just, unless you live a different life, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just asking you, just try it once. Try to treat yourself as an actual temple and a sanctuary. Try it out.
Exactly. When I was a teenager, I made out with chicks. I tried everything I could because that's what the New World Order told me to do. But then when I got some good spiritual advice, I stopped that sex train and crazy train and said, oh, what would it be like if I let this happen naturally and slowly and let it develop over time? That's what gardening is, and that's what we're doing here with our relationships. And that's what alchemy is. Alchemy takes time.
If you think about your best friend, you got a best friend, Cor? You got somebody that's
living?
Close. Yeah, well, but you know what I'm talking about. What kind of a bond do you have with that person?
Honestly, I don't have those kind of bonds in this world anymore, but I bond with my spirit guide.
Okay, well then your spirit guide, right? This person you talk to all the time, every day.
Yep.
And you share secrets with each other. You talk about things. You understand each other. You actually try to put yourself in that person's shoes when they're talking to you.
Right.
I know that's a hard concept, right? But we all can get a little selfish, and that's just the ego. The second we go and get defensive and we stop putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes, that's 100% ego. That's the spirit is just hiding. It's hey, what did you do? Let me come back out, But that's what you should be building. Friendships, families, everything. Everything. We need to rebuild this thing, man. And I'm not talking about fixing the world, but if we rebuilt just ourselves and our communities that way, and we treated each other as sanctuaries, as something very precious, I think things would be a little different. I really do.
That is beautiful. And it's very, very true. My issue with community in general, since I've been in just about all of them now, I've taste tested all the communities, and nobody's healed. Everybody's still freaking sick, acting out their childhood problems. And the more popular the person is, the worse they are, because they have so many people around them going, oh yes, you're awesome, we love you, So my problem with community is where are the healthy people that want to be in community?
Yeah.
So that's why I try to teach 12-step and recovery and healing your inner wounds and reclaiming your inner child and doing all of the magical things that magic's all about. And instead, people get into invoking demons or watching for UFOs, anything to distract the self from the self. And that's the big distraction, which again is that apple of chaos of Eris.
Yeah.
It's all a big snipe hunt unless you're hunting for your soul.
Ponch has got a pretty good question. He says, what about the girl that, what did he say? What about the girl that won't date you because they're afraid to break up and you become the best friends for, well, you know what, man?
Friend zoned.
First off, you're putting yourself in the friend zone, which if you have a deeper connection with a person and you want more than that, I think you should let it be known. But if you truly love that person, you can still say what you want. There's a whole self-love. That's a balance there, brother. There's a whole self-love there thing too, where you're going to be in heartache all the time. If you're going to be in heartache all the time, then you need to do some type of self-check and say, why am I in
like
heartache?
a hound dog, like Elvis.
Yeah, if you're going to be in heartache all the time because you know you want something more, you know you have a bigger connection and they just won't do it because they're afraid. Honestly, bro, are they really like for you? Think about that.
That's what I see there. The key word is afraid. Do I want to
You're
date
not afraid,
somebody?
but they're afraid to take that step towards you.
Do I want to date someone who is in fear? Is that a quality I look for in a mate?
And then you got to be careful too about what there may be other reasons why they're afraid to break up. You got to look at the bigger picture.
No,
really,
no. Fear is fear. I asked Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. Didn't he die from taking an aspirin though?
Killer.
Somebody
he died during a
his
sleep
ass.
paralysis from the curse of his bloodline, and Brandon was murdered. That's Bruce Lee, y'all.
Yeah, that's a trippy story too. I mean, I don't know, brother. I don't have the answers to that, but I will say that, like, look at the bigger picture and then try to really love just try to love yourself and that other person as equally as you can. Don't get unbalanced about it. But if it's causing
loving people who are unavailable hurts us. It's like shooting ourselves in the head. Boom.
If it's causing a lot of heartache.
Don't participate in your own sorrow.
Yeah. Exactamundo. If it's causing a lot of heartache, then I would bail. But if it's like you could totally be friends with them and that's fine, then do it. You know, I don't know. I would say when guys ask that question though, they're already in heartache.
Oh.
Most of the time, in my experience, they're already in heartache because they're giving all of themselves to somebody that won't break up with somebody else to be with you. But I mean, that's almost like, dude, that should be your answer there. Right there.
It is, but that's where denial comes in and says, no, but they're pretty and I really like them and they're smart and we bonded in ways that no one else has ever bonded on the planet Earth. Oh my God. This is the only person. And guess what we call that? Idolatry.
Eesh. Yeah. Punch, you'll be all right, brother. Trust me.
I've been there a million times. That's why I can make fun of it, dude. I mean, I've been there on the floor crying naked in a puddle of my own tears. But you go through it.
Yeah. And then like, I also believe in what will be too. So if there really is a higher love there between you and that other person, you know, let them know what's up, that you feel that way, move on with your life. And if they can't live without you, then they're going to let you know.
Yeah, always be honest. And usually when I was breaking up with a boyfriend or we were having a breakup, I would always tell them what their future was going to be. It was like normal for me. I was like, okay, we're parting ways. Now I'm going to tell you about the girl you're going to impregnate and won't marry, blah, blah, blah.
You would tell them like who their next person is going to be?
Yes, because I could see their path and I knew what was coming.
That's
and I was
awesome.
Like, this is why we're breaking up.
But that's awesome.
Because
like you
everyone
respected
wants
their
closure.
path.
At the end of a relationship, the biggest thing you want is some big closure. And I got it and I gave it to them.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you know that dude's never going to feel that way though? He's going to be like, well, I'm glad you got closure and I didn't. But realistically, this isn't just about like when I bring this sanctuary and temple thing up, I'm not just talking about like intimate relationships, man. I'm talking about all the way around, like your family, your friends. There are people in your life I know that we all love, but they just destroy things about you, and they shouldn't have that kind of power over you to begin with. So you got to check yourself first there and then be like, why do I feel this drain when I'm around this person?
Mm-hmm.
Why does
and
life...
always look at how they're treating themselves, sweetheart. How are they treating themselves? Are they in denial? Are they lying to themselves? Because then they will lie to you.
So you talk about this 12-step thing, right? Like I went through this opiate addiction thing on my own. And I would get so pissed off. I would get so pissed off at people that were like, that had money and they could go to these like recovery places where you could just sit in hot tubs and recover and talk to people.
Get a massage.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I had a one like person in my life that was like, it's all in your head. That's all they could say.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm flipping and flopping like a fish in the house thinking I'm going to die, like no.
Were you really all alone? No one was there with you?
No. I mean, the only people that knew about it were the people that like it did it to, So they yeah, man, I know what you're going through. And you talk to addicts, right? And you talk to all these addicts, and they are not going to tell you stories of recovery. They're not going to tell you that you can, like they hint around like, oh man, you can do it. But deep down, they don't believe it because they can't do it. And then you get on the internet.
A junkie's never going to help you out of being a junkie.
Hell no. And then you get on the internet and you're like, well, maybe there's somebody on the internet that can like.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson. Everyone was worshiping Jordan Peterson, and he's a junkie.
Yeah.
Hello.
But there's a lot of people like that. You see,
most of them. That's been my point ever since I came to LA. These people are fakes.
Yeah. When I went to, so when I went to these clinics, I went at, it's like the methadone clinic, like what Kid Rock talks about or whatever. But I didn't take methadone. They put me on Suboxone or something. And I saw this divide of people. And this was really strange, man. When you go in this place, like I saw this divide of, okay, on this side, some of these people are like living on the streets. Like they don't have nothing, man. And they're taking methadone. And then over here on the Suboxone side, you got lawyers, preachers, doctors, even people that are hiding this lifestyle from everybody, like people like Jordan Peterson. But still, yet they've got this addiction. They've got this depression, anxiety, and this need for fulfillment and comfort. That's why we take this stuff, right?
I don't know. I've never been addicted like that. I was addicted to men. I was addicted to their love,
same
relationships.
Thing, though. It's the same thing, really. It really is. The only difference between that and like opiates and heroin is like, I don't know what withdrawals from men are like. Sorry, but I can tell you.
Not anything like what you went through, man.
I can tell you withdrawals from opiates or heroin is the worst. It's the worst.
I can't imagine it. I've watched it in film, but I really literally think it's going through hell. And thank God you made it through.
And you could die from that stuff. And here's the thing.
No, I know. Being addicted to men, you could get beat up or something. I mean, I wasn't a sex addict. I was a relationship addict.
You were addicted to the fairy tale, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to commit suicide when the relationship was over. It's like, well, then life is over. So I put every egg in that basket.
Well, you got over that,
serious.
Right? Okay. Well, see, but you understand it then, right? Like, because here's what happens.
Addiction.
When these people, it's the same thing. Like when they run out of heroin or they run out of pills, instead of living their life, they spend 90% of their time trying to find more heroin or pills or whatever. That's what they do. That's all
it is. I was looking for the fix of love, and they're looking for the fix of love. But when you get snared into a drug like that, it's like voodoo. It's even worse than being in a relationship like that. But you could say that ghosts are dealing with our relationships. There's an author, Eve Lorgan, and she does a book series called The Alien Love Bite, and how ghosts and demons basically are taking over love relationships, telling who to marry who, and that goes back to the bloodline wars.
What the hell? Are you serious?
Yeah, that goes back to the bloodline wars of the elites always incarnate into the same bloodline over and over again. And that's how they've amassed so much wealth, because they're doing dirty deeds in the astral plane to get people to marry other people and have babies. So it's a big baby game. There's a secret adoptions involved. In fact, John Glenn, the senator and astronaut, my great uncle, was involved in a secret adoption. So that's not even on Wikipedia that we're related. So yeah, I've been watching this war of good and evil since I was a little girl, but now other people are starting to see it, and I'm trying to explain the ins and outs and the mechanics of the universe and why it works the way it does.
Well, I was getting to that point with the addiction thing and the depression thing and everything like that, is because we've been conditioned not to love ourselves, number one, and identify like what real love is. There are people that come into your life that will truly love you. And you know what sucks about it is it's very rare when it should be the complete opposite. Why is that a rare thing? Why do we have to fight to barely get a taste of something like that in our life? When it
well,
should
you
be
know,
the
we're in the
opposite.
Kali Yuga, or you could call it the precession of the equinoxes. We're in a very dark space right now as mankind is evolving. We are in the dark. And in the dark, you got to deal with your shit alone. And honestly, I've been in very high planes of consciousness, way beyond Earth, or people who even have ever heard of Earth, souls who have ever even heard of Earth. I've been way out there. And the answer that everything beyond the third and fourth dimension is love. Everything. And we're people who remember past lives or are a bit psychic like you and I, Joe, we're going to remember that love, and we're going to want it. We're going to Jones for it right here in the Kali Yuga at this time of darkness. But I really believe part of the alchemical process of the now is to be that hermaphrodite within, totally completed within yourself.
Yeah.
Only then can you attract that perfect opposite mate in the alchemical equation.
So my point to that was exactly what you're saying is I had to learn to be, like, slowly learn over time to, it wasn't a curse. I mean, I guess it was, but it was more like learning to be my own caretaker.
Yeah, like your own parent. That's what I always say.
Like I had to develop this
father.
voice in my head of a mother telling me I need to do this, you need to do that, or even nurturing myself when things are bad. And then, like, I started learning about this stuff, and then I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. Like, I've had this idea of masculinity, like I'm just supposed to be this big asshole all the time and just present myself as like this big, strong, asshole. But that's not real divine masculinity at all.
And that's not really who you are, unless you're pissed off.
No, it's not. And I mean, it's really not who I am. My face may look that way, but it's not who I am on the inside.
Right, so, I agree. I think your audience would agree.
The divine masculine has a touch of the feminine. It expresses that. The divine feminine has a touch of the masculine and expresses that. Well,
I would say that's also your feminine spirit guide. Like I have my Hermes, he's masculine. That's your feminine voice. And then, because you've studied Aleister Crowley and other things, that the holy guardian angel is just another word for the term the Buddhists use as the higher self, or the Atman, the perfected you, which lives in heaven if your consciousness is in heaven, as above, so below. And then I can say that enlightenment versus Übermensch, like I mentioned before, the Übermensch means Superman, and it came from Nietzsche and from German Nazis. And this is all leading into transhumanism. So the Überman, Overman, Superman is what they're trying to create the human race as a genetically modified species. Now the news story is to mix them with robots, like transhumanism. It's Frankenstein's nightmare.
Take that vaccine, that nanoprotein vaccine under the skin. Get it. Get you some. It's coming. There's 7 companies working on it right now. They want to, and it's all like nanotech stuff too, man. It's not like they're going to inject, microchips in you like people are saying, but it's, it's not totally natural either. But yeah, like learning.
And another thing we could bring up, because I'm looking at the chat, is every law on the planet that we live on, Earth, is based upon the divine right of kings. Every law is unjust because we have no true kings.
Yeah. Well, we can fix that too. And
we need to rise up. And I think that's what God's plan is. I believe that we will rise up because I have seen heaven on earth in visions. I've literally seen it. I'm not the only one. And we get there somehow. So right now we're just reverse engineering the future.
Yeah. And so all of this stuff has taught me and I am still like being very humbled, realizing how much of an ass I've been in my life and how, in a lot of ways, but also unaware of certain things that I've done. But like this love is a higher love, man. It's like it's a higher love. What I'm trying to explain is like I'm experiencing things that I did not know existed. You think about it, you hear about it when you read about spirituality, stuff like that, but you don't know it's real until you actually experience it. And then I don't know. Like, I think I can't be the only one that's going through this. And if you feel stuck because of it, I think you're stuck for a reason. I think there's like this door that's in front of you that's saying, this is where you're supposed to go. And then there's like this part of you that wants to hold on to the bardo.
Yeah, in the old ways, in the ego, in all the attachments. It's called attachment. So it's the attachments or addictions that we must heal within ourselves. And getting a counselor like me will bust through that stuff together quickly now that it is the time to do that.
Hey, can I ask you one real quick question before we got to get out of here? Because this chap's going to ask more than anything. All right. So there's this idea that people are taught that once you're an addict, you're always an addict, right? And I got to tell you, like, when I went through that stuff on my own, they made me sit in a back room and talk to a counselor. And this guy had been a recovering addict his whole life. And this guy was talking about how you're always going to be this way.
That's so disgusting.
And I'm telling you, in the worst ways, like, even saying things like, well, you realize you may have to take this medicine the rest of your life, and it's just who you are. You realize
we will be taking your money for the rest of your life.
What is this guy talking about, man? So
money. He was talking about money.
I had to get away from that whole, and I mean, there's doctors and people that have degrees and stuff that probably disagree with me, but I believe in the power of the mind, the spirit, and whatever love. That placebo thing is, and definitely love. And you are exactly what you say you are. Because you got yourself
through your addiction with love. There's nothing else that got you through that.
Yeah, desperation and love. Yeah, it was pretty much that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could have gone back a million times by now. When they say once an addict, always an addict, what I got from 12-step was you have to pay it forward. Even though you're healed, others are not. So keep teaching, keep paying it forward, which is what you do by sharing your stories.
Yeah, it's not fun to talk about, but I know a lot of people are going through it. But listen, yeah, we got to get out of here. It's been a long time.
Yeah, this was fun, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, audience. Thank you, people.
Yeah, it's just good to have you back. I think you're doing good work. You might be one of the most highly misunderstood people on the planet, though. You know that,
I would second that emotion, dude. I really would.
There's more depth to you than meets the eye. Because, like a lot of people might think you're just this crazy witchy person that thinks the world's going to come to an end, but they're not really reading your material.
You know? I'm a lot more like the Cheshire Cat. And, like I said, tricksters, we can't teach just straight up teaching, black and white. We get creative with it. And that's what the occult is, hidden from the uninitiated, or hidden from muggles, hidden from people whose souls probably aren't in heaven.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Eyes to see, ears to hear, your soul's in heaven, baby.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel that. I really do.
We're here to fight.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. It's really cool. We'll do it again. And I think, we got to get out of here like right now. I want to thank all the patrons for coming on. Go to her website, occultpriestess.com. Also, thank you guys in the Fringe FM chat. The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable's coming up next. Big shout out to the team over at the Fringe FM, Barbara, Amanda, all of you guys, all of you hosts. We're going to be doing something a little bit bigger and a little bit different. I hope y'all are going to be ready for this. All right. You guys have a good night. See you tomorrow night. Tom Dongo will be here with us. Good night.
On this program do not necessarily reflect those of the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting, its sponsors, affiliates, or staff. Listener discretion is advised.